Welcome back to Auto Vista, where classic meets character, and today, we're taking a ride back in time with one of the most iconic and beloved cars in automotive history, the 1979 Volkswagen Beetle. This isn't just a car, it's a symbol, a legend on four wheels that has captured the hearts of millions across the globe. And the 1979 model, well, it holds a special place. It marked the end of an era for many markets, yet it carried forward the spirit of the people's car with undeniable charm. As you look at the car, the design immediately reminds you why the Beetle was, and still is, such a cultural icon. That rounded silhouette, the gently sloping fenders, and the unmistakable bug-like stance, it's like nothing else on the road. The 1979 Beetle didn't try to be flashy. It was simple, friendly, and reliable, the very things that made it a global phenomenon. By this time, the shape had remained largely unchanged for decades, but Volkswagen had refined the details to keep the car relevant. Chrome accents, a solid build, and that friendly face of a front end, it all comes together in a package that just makes you smile. Under the hood, or rather, in the back, because this Beetle keeps its engine where its heart should be, you'll find the familiar air-cooled flat-4 engine. In the 1979 model, it was a 1.6-liter unit producing about 48 horsepower. Now, that might not sound like a lot by modern standards, but let's be honest, the Beetle was never about speed. It was about getting you there, every time, without fuss. And the way this engine hums along, with that distinctive boxer engine thrum, it's pure mechanical nostalgia. Driving the 1979 Beetle is a unique experience. It's not fast, but it's involving. You feel every input. The 4-speed manual transmission is light and simple to use, and there's something deeply satisfying about rowing through the gears in a car like this. The steering isn't power-assisted, but it doesn't need to be. The Beetle is light, nimble, and has a surprisingly tight turning radius. It's perfect for narrow city streets or winding country roads. It reminds you what driving used to feel like, connected, mechanical, and real. Step inside, and the interior tells its own story. It's minimalist, but not Spartan. The dashboard is functional, with everything placed exactly where it needs to be. You get analog gauges, a simple steering wheel, and just the essentials, no distractions, no unnecessary tech. It's refreshing, really. The materials might be basic by today's standards, but they're durable and honest. And let's not forget the charm of the vinyl seats, the classic 2-spoke steering wheel, and the sound of that door closing with a solid, satisfying thunk. One of the highlights of the 1979 Beetle is that it was the last year the convertible was offered in the US market. The drop-top version, built by Carman, is a beauty. It's got that same timeless look, but with the added pleasure of open-air motoring. Whether you're cruising down the coast or through the city, the convertible Beetle adds an extra layer of fun to an already enjoyable drive. Now, in terms of practicality, the Beetle has always been surprisingly capable. Despite its small size, the rear seat can accommodate 2 adults in a pinch, and the front trunk, yes, front, offers enough space for groceries or a weekend bag. It's not a family hauler, but it's a car that makes the most of its compact dimensions. Reliability. That's where the Beetle shines. It's a simple machine, which means fewer things to go wrong. Back in the day, these cars were everywhere because they just worked. They were easy to fix, parts were cheap, and anyone with a basic toolkit could do most of the maintenance themselves. The 1979 model carries that same DNA. Even today, it's a favorite among DIY mechanics and classic car lovers because it invites you to get your hands dirty and really connect with your car. From a historical perspective, the 1979 Beetle is a fascinating snapshot. By this time, most manufacturers had moved on to more modern designs, with front engines, front-wheel drive, and more advanced suspension setups. But Volkswagen stuck with the Beetle because it still had an audience, people who loved the design, the simplicity, and the personality. This model year was one of the last built in Germany, as production shifted to other countries like Mexico and Brazil. It's a car that stayed true to itself, even as the world around it changed. Let's not forget the cultural significance. The Beetle has been in movies, music, and art. It was the face of the counterculture in the 60s and 70s, embraced by hippies, students, and rebels who wanted something different. In 1979, owning a Beetle still meant you were a bit of a nonconformist. You weren't chasing horsepower or luxury, you just wanted a car with soul. And that's exactly what you got. There's something magical about the way the Beetle makes people feel. Kids point at it, older folks smile. Everyone has a story. Maybe it was their first car, their parents' car, or the car they learned to drive in. The 1979 Beetle carries those stories with it. It's a rolling memory, a piece of personal and shared history. On the road today, the Beetle turns heads, not because it's flashy, but because it's familiar. In a sea of modern SUVs and crossovers, the Beetle stands out by being itself. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just exists, unapologetically, as a symbol of a simpler time. If you're lucky enough to drive or own one, you know what I'm talking about. It's not about performance specs or luxury features. It's about emotion, connection, and joy. The 1979 Volkswagen Beetle isn't just a car, it's a companion, a piece of art, and a reminder that sometimes, less really is more. And that's what makes it worthy of a spot here on Auto Vista. Because here, we celebrate not just machines, but the emotions they evoke, the lives they touch, and the roads they help us travel. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this journey into automotive history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next ride. Until then, keep your wheels turning, and your heart open to the classics. This is Auto Vista, signing off.